Behold, in all of its glory, with its mighty tongue outside of its mouth, and its exquisite cinnamon bun roll. Okay, okay, I'm done. I really don't know how to hype up a Lickilicky, but you know what? If you guys don't have Lickitung XL, this thing is a beast for the Love Cup, and it's eligible because it's pink. As you see here, what makes well, they're basically the same thing. Lickilicky and Lickitung are the same thing. It's just Lickitung has Power Whip. So think about Lickilicky. High stamina, high defense, and also, that's pretty much it. It's extremely thick, but the thing is, compared to Lickitung, it doesn't max out as high, so because of that, its stat product's not as high. And along with that, it also has higher attack, so that means you can't really power it up that high. However, Lickilicky is still a beast. As you see here, what makes normal types really unique is that they only weak to fighting types. Because this cup generally kind of discourages fighters from being used, just because of Charmers, Lickilicky's pretty safe against fighting types, as long as you have something that covers fighting. And it also resists Ghost. Now, you're not going to see a lot of Ghost types in this cup, so I don't know how useful this resistance is going to be, but you know what, Lickilicky is still a beast, so. Well, there's actually other Lick users, so then you resist other Licks, so. As you see here, what makes it really good is that it has Lick and also a very versatile moveset. Body Slam is Legacy, so you will need a Lickitung with Body Slam. If you did the Lickitung Raid Day, which was a while ago, you likely have one. If not, you need Body Slam for it to be good. Just like with Lickitung, you need Body Slam for it to be really good, because Body Slam you get stabbed and you get to do damage over time. Now, for the variation for PBook.com, this variation uses Shadow Ball. You can use Hyper. I don't recommend you use Hyper Beam or anything else. Shadow Ball does give you coverage against other fighters. For example, Shadow Ball does cover Medicham, and it does really well against other things. You can play with different movesets, however, so you don't really need to use Shadow Ball. You can try to use Hyper Beam if you want to be fancy. We'll organize and see what movesets actually work here. Well, we'll give it everything a shot for science. Alright, as you see here, here's the Love Cup rankings. We got Lickilicky is actually at number 10 overall, which is still really good. Even though Lickitung does take number 1, being 9 ranks down isn't very bad for Lickilicky. As you see here, an 85 plus across the board, especially its strongest position is a switch. As you see here, it's very powerful. It's been able to take on a wide combination of things. It's able to take on Charmers like Clefable, Vileplume, Electrode, Milotic, and Charizard. Well, Shadow Charizard. Regular Charizard does take it out just because of the little extra bulk, I believe. Also, fighters. Wigglytuff does beat you. I think you can beat Wigglytuff in some scenarios. I think you don't. Well, we'll see. Because the thing about Wigglytuff is that Wigglytuff does resist Lick. That's why it beats you. But it barely beats you. 524 isn't a bad rating, but it Lick like normal resist Ghost, as we saw. So. Also, Alomomola just because it's really thick, and Lickitung itself, just because Lickitung does have that extra bulk thanks to it being an XL. As a lead, Lickilicky ranks at number 17. Not a bad lead. As you see here, it does well against Electrode and some elemental types, Vileplume, as well as Clefable. In the closer, Lickilicky ranks at number 22. It can actually take out Medicham XL, like I mentioned before, with Shadow Ball. You also beat Milotic, Rotom Wash, and other elementals. However, you do lose against Charmers with no shield, so be very mindful of that. As a switch, Lickilicky is where it's arguably its most powerful position. As you see here, it ranks at number 4, which is very powerful. It's a powerful switch for this cup. If you don't have Lickitung XL, yeah, like Lickilicky, this is a good alternative for you. As you see here, your key losses are fighters. However, if you are able to keep away from fighters, you do very well. And this meta generally discourages fighters to begin with. As you see here, you do beat a lot of elemental leads, like I mentioned before. You can also beat Clefable. So Lickilicky as a switch, very, very powerful. It will give you shields, or it will give you switch, either or you can deal a decent amount of damage before it goes down, unless you see Scrappy. Alright, we have the PBook.com rankings here. As I always say, please consider donating to PBook.com. As you see here, we got Lickilicky with like every single moveset. Like seriously. Okay, so you want Body Slam. You need to keep Body Slam. Body Slam gives you bait move potential. It also does stab and gives you a lot of options. You need Body Slam. Now your second move is going to be Shadow Ball, Earthquake, Solar Beam, or Hyper Beam. So we're going to look at every single possibility. As you see, I got the left cup meta to the right. We got the 2 shield. We're in a battle. Now, as you see here, Hyper Beam looks really freaking good. Holy crap. So with Hyper Beam, you can actually take out Charizard. Yeah. You bait both actually, you could beat it. Okay, so with Charizard, you actually beat Charizard bait straight Body Slam. You can double shield both of the Dragon Claws, and it actually never gets to a Blast Burn. So you can actually beat... So you beat it straight Body Slam with all variations. As you see here, you do lose against Churum, you lose against Crustle, as well as Clefable. So in the 2 shield, it's... 2 shield's a little rough, as you see here. You beat Electrode, you beat Matt Cargo, and you can beat Milotic with the Shadow Ball variation. Can you just straight Body Slam? Okay, so you Body Slam and then you Shadow Ball. Okay, that makes sense. So the reason why you beat Milotic into 2s is you have to... This is a bait dependent matchup though. You have to double bait and hit Shadow Ball. So you have to hit the nuke move. Or double bait both shields. So this is not a very dependent. Of course, you're going to lose against fighters in the lead with 2 shields, just because they're very oppressive. And you also lose against Shadow Vileplume and Wigglytuff in the 2 shield. You do beat Slowbro, so you beat Psychic Test because you lick it to death. You also beat some things, but it looks like with 2 shields, very powerful save switch. However, against the top 16, or like a majority of the meta, you don't do too well, so be careful about switching Lickilicky into something. Make sure, yeah, be careful. Don't switch Lickilicky into a fire. So, that's basically it. But still very powerful. Does well against a lot of picks, and I think with Sunny Churum, really, if you shield the Solar Beam, because it has to beam you to win, you should be okay. So you shield the Solar Beam, you eat 1 Weather Ball, because you can eat a Weather Ball. You shield the Solar... Yeah, Lickilicky wins this matchup if you don't hit with the move. So you beat Churum. Clefable in the 2 shield, I think it can just charm you down. It should just straight charm you down. Yep, yeah. So you, as you see here, you're able to come out of this with... You can sack Lickilicky, break both of their shields, and farm the rest of Clefable down. So there's plays to create. Even though it looks like it's losing, there are plays you can make. With the Crustle matchup, as you see here, let's see. Body slams, body slams, body slams. As you see here, you could straight body slam. You will take both of their shields and you leave them with... You can farm them down. So there's a lot of plays you can make. Even though it does lose the 2s, like you see here, there's plenty of plays you can make. So there's a lot of ways you can play it out. Definitely practice to see Lickilicky, but it does look like it's looked really well. Now, if we do the 1 shield, as you see in the 1 shield, things get a little better. In the 1 shield, I think you turn, as you see with Charizard, you probably get hit with a Blast Burn. This is why you lose. Yep. If you shield the Blast Burn, do you win? Okay. So as long as you shield the Blast Burn here, you can win. So you could take a Dragon Claw, but you can't shield the Blast Burn. So Charizard's a bit dependent matchup. Same thing with Churum. With Churum has to land a Solar Beam to kill you. So if it doesn't land a Solar Beam, you're good. You can also comfortably eat a Weather Ball, so you'll be fine. As you see, you beat Clefable, you beat Crustle, you beat Electrode. You lose against Lickitung XL, and of course you're going to lose against both fighters. However, other than that, you beat Milotic, Slowbro, Vileplume. You're gonna lose to Wigglytuff, unfortunately, just because Wigglytuff does resist your licks. Because it has that normal typing, Wigglytuff has a very strong matchup against Lickilicky. But as you see, a lot of Pokemon have to hit the nuke moves on Lickilicky, otherwise they lose. Now in the no shield, it's kind of like your second, I wouldn't try to avoid this as much as possible. As you see here, certain movesets will allow you to flip certain matchups. However, this is where Lickilicky is going to eat a lot of damage. As you see here, you're going to eat Blast Burns, you're going to eat all the big moves in the no shield. So because of that, Lickilicky, make sure you have shields for Lickilicky. That or you call make sure you have shields for Lickilicky. Shields are vital. Unless you have a really strong matchup. As you see here, you beat Sunny Churum in the closer. You also beat Crustle with Earthquake and Electro Earthquake. So there is merit to running Earthquake over Shadow Ball, because as you see here, the only thing you beat with Shadow Ball is Medicham XL in the closer. Other than that, you flip Mad Cargo, you flip Electrode. With Hyper Beam, this is only one matchup, possibly my favorite one. As you see here, you do beat Wigglytuff. So with Hyper Beam, you can finish Wigglytuff in the closer, which is absolutely hilarious. Hyper Beam does... I still don't recommend Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam does 165 damage. So in other words, you wipe out 75% of Wigglytuff's health if you're if you Solar Beam anything in the closer, most likely you will KO it unless it resists it. In the 1 to 0s, as you see here, Lickilicky is very powerful. Extremely powerful. Has high ratings against most of everything in the meta. 2 to 0s, I'm pretty sure beats everything. Except for Scrafty. Yep, except for Scrafty. So beats everything except for Scrafty. In the 1 to 0s or 2 to 0s, Lickilicky is very, very powerful. However, generally you want to give it shields. So make sure you have Lickilicky has shields. Other than that, make sure you play the big game correctly. In the 2 to 1s, Lickilicky is still very powerful. As you see, look at these matchups. You only lose to fighters and Wigglytuff. So in the 2 to 1s, if you have shield advantage, Lickilicky is extremely powerful. So definitely leave Lickilicky with shields. And like I mentioned, it forces your opponent to be very baity. If you can call the big move, or if you call the big move, or if you land your big move, you can take the matchup. So like I said, there's a lot of plays with Lickilicky. That's why it's such a great save switch in the Love Cup. Alright, if I had to give Lickilicky a rating, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It's still a really good save switch, and like I said, because of Lickilicky's bulk and pressure, you can actually force your opponent into the bait game. It's always good when you it depends on what it is. Like, if you're comfortable with playing the bait game, that's fine. But just be careful, because Lickilicky, in a lot of situations, it depends if you're right or wrong. Like, if you saw in a lot of the Sims, you're like, okay, I lose this matchup, but like I said, it's a bait-dependent matchup. If you shield the big move, you win. So, like I said, Lickilicky does have a degree of difficulty to play it. However, if you do get a positive matchup, it's really good. As you see in the 2 shield, it wins a lot of matches, so it is a fantastic save switch. If you switch, like I said, your biggest weakness are fighters and probably Wigglytuff, I would say. As you see here, there's a lot of things that can beat you, but that's only if they land a big move on you. If you are able to call the baits, and if you expertly are able to tank damage and trying to like count moves and notice that your opponent isn't trying to hit you with a big move, then you can take matches with Lickilicky. I would say the big thing about Lickilicky, it's very difficult to play. However, it does put a ton of pressure on your opponent, and also, if it's in the 1 to 0s or 2 to 0s, or if you give it shield advantage, this thing's a monster. So literally, if you just give this thing shield advantage, as you see here, here's what happens. It wins 92% of its matchups, just with shield advantage. Just with shield advantage. In the 2 to 0s, here's what happens. It only loses to 1 match, and guess what that 1 match is? It's Scrafty. In the 2 to, it's very, there's not a lot of mons that in the 2 to 1s like this, it's very, very strong. So if you give Lickilicky shield advantage, if you have a bad matchup in front of you, take out the bad matchup, give Lickilicky the shields, and it can go to town. So Lickilicky is very strong in the Love Cup. Like I said, if you don't have a Lickitung, Lickilicky is a great option if you really want something that's fun but actually works very well, and you're okay with the, like I said, the difficult gameplay. Definitely Lickilicky is something to consider. Now I'm gonna. It's really good. It's really good. It's just like I said, it's just difficult to play. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets. I hope you guys are doing well. Like, there's still plenty of time for Legends, so like hopefully you do get a Love Cup if you're trying to get there. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets again, and I'll see you guys on the next video.